later as usual, but we are starting live stream today, this Friday night here in Europe. We want to talk about what is happening with the Bitcoin, what is happening with the stocks, and any other asset that we are trading right now. I'm going to share this live with everybody in the Strategy Master group so that everyone can get acquainted with the current market situation. Right. So we are starting the live stream. Guys, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, however you are. Today, we are starting this live stream and we're going to talk Bitcoin. We're also going to talk about the latest article that I just pushed into Strategy Master. It's very, very important to discuss it because some of you already are catching FOMO, but it's not the time to get FOMO, as we thought Bitcoin is getting rejected at the 882 level right here. This is exactly what we expected, and this is exactly what is happening. We touched this level a couple of times. We actually went above it. We briefly touched 941 and we got rejected here. It happened after the daily cycle top, which basically means that the market is kind of bullish. It is bullish, right? It's not bearish. However, this red candle is already showing us that the market very, very soon is going to turn bearish. Now, I expect the market to stay still up, potentially go here, revisit the same level, and then continue going down. This is the expectation of the market. Great meeting you guys, and I'm happy that you're joining this Friday night. I know that many people are doing other things on the Friday night, and we are actually trading, analyzing the charts, and taking great decisions before the weekend. Because during the weekend, we don't know what's going to happen, right? So happy that you are joining, and we just started with the BTC discussion. I don't know if you had the chance to read the latest article that I pushed, but here I want to talk about when is the next best time to enter into spot position for BTC, Ethereum, and many other coins. It's definitely not now. It's definitely not now. You don't want to enter into the spot positions as we are approaching the weekly highs. Yeah, Oracle. No lie. Yeah, we can talk about it, how low we can go. Actually, I really want to talk about that. And I think that we can go way, way lower than we are right now. And if you're in a short position, you're on the right side of the trade. Before that, I want to talk about two things. First of all, when is the next best time to enter into Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? Based on cycles. Now, we had 3 times already. That's the first one. That's the second one. That's the third. How and why? First one was the bottom of the 3D cycle, the previous bottom of the 3D cycle. The second best was the weekly cycle bottom and the daily cycle bottom right here, this box. You can see that cycles perfectly showed the weekly bottom and the daily bottom. We entered here in the Strategy Master community. We entered at, actually we didn't enter Bitcoin. I entered Ethereum at 1,600 or 1,700. And then I entered Bitcoin for the very first time right here in this box right here at the daily bottom and the 3D bottom. Now we're still gonna have 2 opportunities, and most probably these opportunities will be the best ones. Okay, so why these opportunities will be the best ones? The main reason is that right now we are at the weekly cycle high. This is not when you enter into spot position. This is when you are actually building the top. What we are doing right now for BTC, we are building the top. I'm not saying that the top is in. I'm not saying that we could briefly go to $84,000. We're gonna check. Yeah, I have to make my screen smaller so that you can actually see properly everything what I show on the screen. I just did it. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that we cannot go to $84,000, and looking at the heat map, we can actually do that. That is the heat map. That is where the liquidation prices are. Looking at the heat map on the long side, we have leveraged traders at 81, but really not too many. Even the thing is that we clean the liquidations today. That is the thing. We have less and less right now. We only have 1 billion at the top and we have 6 billion below us. So it's clear. The direction is very clear. The direction is to the downside. Short-term bullish, mid-term to longer-term bearish, right? So even if we do a push to the upside, which I believe we're going to do, this is the daily cycle bottom. This is when I'm going to enter into the trades tomorrow, not tomorrow, but most likely either Sunday night or Monday. If I'm entering Sunday night, I'm going to do a new stream. But this daily cycle bottom, this is when I want to enter into the new crypto trades, either Sunday night or Monday. So the goal is actually to ride the leftovers of this upside and then starting beginning mid of next week, we're gonna position ourselves into shorts. Okay, and we're gonna short until this 3-day cycle bottom. My expectation is that we will go significantly lower than that. We have a huge liquidation cluster at $62,000, at $61,000. So the odds are really stacked to the short side. Now, another thing that I want to show you, actually, let's go to the weekly time frame to see. Basically, let me delete absolutely everything right now. I'm gonna put it back before again. Now, look, that is the bottom of the previous cycle. What I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna use Fibonacci levels. I'm gonna drag it to the top of the previous one, okay? And look at what kind of level we touched previously. We touched 618 level, and we jumped from this level. So 618 is a golden pocket, is the most important Fibonacci level. That is the reason why we are seeing this candle right now, okay? Previously, we went below 0.5, we pushed up. Right now, we touched 618, and we're pointing up, approaching weekly cycle highs, and most probably going to get rejected and going to go lower. How low? We're going to discuss just in a moment. Now, I want to do another thing. I want to go to the previous bull market, previous 4-year cycle, and do the same. Draw Fibonacci from the lowest point to the highest point. That's the highest point. That's the lowest point. That's 2018, and the highest point 2021, November 2021. Let me delete the new one that we bought. Let's take a look at the old one. So, no, that's actually the new one. Yeah. So look, what happened in the previous cycle? The previous cycle was something very, very similar. We touched the golden pocket and we jumped from it, but we didn't jump like we did this time. Last time we jumped from the bottom right here, we jumped roughly 26%. Similar to what we did right now. Very, very similar to what we did right now. However, the candles look very different. The candles are red, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is like, okay, cool. We jumped 26%. At that time, it was 3-day cycle high. And then we went lower. Where did we go to? We went to 786 Fibonacci. After touching 786 Fibonacci, we never came back. Now, I don't want to go into a long discussion, but exactly the same we did in the previous cycle in 2016. So my expectation is that we will go to 786 Fib level. We can go to that level, and if we do, let's take a look at what would be the price of BTC. If we go to that level, let me adjust fibs from the low to the high, and if we do, we would be exactly at $40,000, $40,000. That would correspond to the previous bear market cycle lows. If we manage to fall further through September, October, potentially November, we would end up at 40K. How possible it is? Well, it is very possible. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, and I'm not really counting on it in order to enter my trades. You already know we have lined up a couple of trades, couple of entry opportunities. These green boxes are the opportunities, and we are going to enter into those together. The fourth one, the fourth possible entry is the 3-day low, which is going to happen mid of September. The next entry is the October low, is the weekly cycle low. Right now, weekly cycle high, we wait roughly 1.5 months into October and we enter into the market. 3-day cycle low will also be a great opportunity to enter into long position. Right now, it's a bad opportunity. I'm not saying, bad is not a correct, it's a very unprofessional word. In reality, it's a high risk entry. Right? Yes, I'm going to enter into longs next week. Yes, I'm going to enter into longs probably Sunday night or Monday based on this 1-day cycle, because I expect this 1-day cycle to push slightly higher. And why not, making another 3, 4, 5, 6, 7% on the trade. So that's about BTC. If you have any questions, you let me know. I see that we have first question right here. Could BTC get one more high before going down deeper into the next weekly cycle low? Yes, it can. And the main reason is we are approaching the daily cycle lows. You can see it for yourself. Right now, daily cycle is showing 24. Over the weekend, we're going to fall to 20s, okay? Basically a buying zone. So on Sunday, we'll be on a buying zone. On Monday, most probably will also be around 20. 3-day cycle is still pushing up. So 3-day cycle still has some time to go up. So yes, we could actually go up. That's definitely possible. Now, we can also take a look at the next potential buy entries for BTC. This is the low. This is the high. I'm going to remove the previous fibs. What happened today? We touched 236 Fibonacci, and that's basically the very first level what actually happens during the small time frame downtrend. We could fall here to 74, and from there, but we would go up. Okay, now I want to mark these levels because they are important, especially this one, 74.3. Now on the smaller time frame, we have to go now actually to the smaller time frame to understand what we can expect from BTC on a smaller time frame. You see a bunch of buy signals right now already saying that, hey, we are approaching the lows. So look, daily cycle gonna go below 20 tomorrow or Sunday. 4-hour cycle gonna be below 20 on Saturday. So most likely we're gonna do something like this, and Saturday will be the entry. I am gonna take this entry because we're gonna have 1-day cycle, 8-hour, 4-hour, most likely 1-hour cycle as well below 20 tomorrow. And definitely I'm gonna say this in the Strategy Master community and on the SEM Arena on the BitUnix account. Now, why here? Why exactly this box? Because we're using the same fib levels. Right here, we are currently on the 618. We're most probably gonna go lower, going to 76.8 and the 882 level. Remember, the 882 level is the one giving you usually the highest chance for a bounce up. Right here, this is the level 76-200. It's basically what you're looking at right now, from the lowest low that we had just a couple of days ago to the highest high that we had today morning. Okay, this is the level that you want to be taking a look at. If we are closer to that level, and if the 4-hour cycle is also close to 20, I am going to enter into a position right there. That is for BTC. For Ethereum, the situation is pretty similar. It's roughly at 2,380, roughly here. This is the level for Ethereum. For Ethereum, 2,380. This is the level that I'm eyeing into, and I'm willing to enter into the market. We are now on the fib 618. I expect a quick jump up overnight. Everybody's getting excited on the smaller time frame, and then we go lower into Saturday or Sunday, and most likely Saturday. And then Saturday or Sunday, we're gonna see the daily cycle below 20, 4-hourly cycle below 20. This is basically what's gonna happen on the smaller time frame. We're gonna enter into the trades at these levels. We're gonna make really, really good profits once again. I was waiting for this kind of opportunity. I mentioned that yes, we can enter into the market at the previous 4-hour low, which was by the middle of the week, but I didn't take it. For me, it was too much risk, and it's great that I didn't take it, because what happened, we went into the 1-hour high once again, and then we went lower. This was to be expected. You expect to have a falling market when you have the 1-day cycle going down. Okay. Right. Do you think it's a good idea to sell coins from previous cycle when BTC tops locally? Yes, definitely. Got a bit of sold. It's bagging profit from back in the days before I knew what to stop. Yeah, definitely. So use this opportunity to get rid of your alts, especially the ones that you entered previously. One of our members still has ENA trade that we took roughly at 20 cents. It was in January, I believe. So this is an opportunity to actually get rid of the positions. We can take a look at ENA as well. ENA is currently at 16 cents. It was already at 19. It was at 19, but pretty soon we're gonna have a top and then continuation lower into the weekly lows. Okay, that is why next week, especially at the next 1-day high, you want to be looking to exit all the positions. And if we get something like this, that would be ideal situation to actually exit the market. That is my main plan. If you still have coins from the previous bull market, and at ENA, that would look something like 20 cents for those who are trading ENA. Around 20 cents. I expect a reversal to the downside. I would not expect a reversal if we have a cleaner heat map, but everybody who understands crypto, we know that this market is highly manipulated. Market makers control the market, institutions and whales control the market, and they move price to your stop loss. They move price to your stop loss, and they move price to your liquidation price. That is why 80 to 90% of people lose money trading. And that is why we have tools like this that allows us to see these liquidation levels. So next closest liquidation level is at $62,000 for Bitcoin. And I can choose now Ethereum. I'm not sure if ENA is there, potentially. If I choose Ethereum, I can see that the closest liquidation cluster is at 1,840. We have over 2 billion of liquidations. Knowing that we are currently at the weekly cycle high, well, guys, we're gonna go lower, most probably, right? That is at least how I read the market, and that's how I'm positioned in the market. Nevertheless, short term, I'm fine taking a trade. Today, I'm not gonna take any crypto trade because I'm simply waiting for the 4-hour lows, daily lows, and 8-hour lows. Basically, every single indicator reading will be in the buying zone. That's it. I buy. Now, those who are not familiar with the cycles, those who are here for the very first time or are coming from the YouTube channel, come to Strategy Master and get the cycle indicators right here, strategymaster.substack.com. You click unlock all cycle indicators, you get access to all the cycles right here. Clicking this button, obviously paying, and this allows you to give access to the buy, sell signals, all the cycles, all the most important information. Also use the promotion. You will see the link in the description down below from Bitunix. Bitunix is giving great bonuses right now. Use it, use the link, use Bitunix to trade. It's actually a great exchange. That is where I trade as well. We're gonna take a look at the Bitunix trades that I had from the previous days, and I actually did some changes over today. I want to show you those changes. So basically, I open a hedge position against GEF, and this hedge position is now in profit, so that was really great. I closed the VRT long. It was actually a stop loss at my entry, and I opened the short, but most likely this short will be very short-lived. Let's take a look at why this, and Nokia also. I took profits and I set a stop loss at the entry. That's it. Stop loss got triggered. Let's take a look at every one of them and when do we want to re-enter those trades. So let's start with Nokia. Yeah, we're gonna take a look at XRP as well in just a moment. First of all, Nokia has made a bottom on the 2-weekly cycle and the weekly cycle. So these are really good news. And also the 3-day cycle, that was a perfect bottom. However, now it faced short-term resistance because we are at the top of the 3-day cycle and we are at the top of the 1-day cycle. That is why I took the profits, set up my stop loss at the entry. Stop loss got triggered. That is fine. I expect now the 3-day cycle to push the price lower, or at least the daily cycle to push the price lower. Looking that we didn't make a newer high from the 17th of August, I expect the price to also break the previous low. All right. So most likely we're going to break the previous low, go to $9. This could be actually a decent short opportunity. However, weekly cycles going up and 2-weekly cycles at the bottom, I don't want to short right now. I'm happy having taken the profits on that trade. Then we have GEF, very similar situation, but GEF is a little bit more bearish. It is a little bit more bearish because it has 3-day cycle pointing down. That is why I opened hedge short. And it also seems to be breaking on the daily cycle. It made a new low, all right? And it's very simple. We close the trade because we expect lower prices. So I expect the 3-day cycle to push GEF slightly lower, somewhere to this territory. And right here, I'll be very happy to close the short and then increase the long. Because once we reach the full bottom of the 2-weekly, weekly, 3-day, and 1-day, which is going to happen within 10 days from now, we are most likely to continue this upside. This is a bullish ticker, but it has a short-term bearish price action. So in a quick short is already in profit. Most likely we're going to close the short in profit within the next 10 days. We're going to take the profit and increase the long position. We're going to go higher. VRT is kind of at the break even right now. It's a very small profit, but most likely gonna close VRT because it doesn't really look that bearish right now. We have the weekly cycle going up. I don't want to short when I see the weekly cycle going up. However, I also see the 3-day cycle broken. If I see 3-day cycle broken, well, also not very happy. Potentially we could move lower in the short term and then continue higher. Okay, that is basically all what I expect from these stocks and these coins. Now I see that one of you wants to take a look at XRP. Let's take a look at XRP. What's going on with XRP? So XRP is pulling the classic move where it goes up very quickly and then it goes down even quicker than that. We are now approaching the 882 level for XRP. For XRP, the 882 level is basically, we are almost there. It's $1.37. So I expect XRP to bounce from there at the 882. expect potentially we could enter into XRP. That could be pretty interesting trade. Oh yeah, that's great. So what I'm gonna do tomorrow, we're gonna reach 4-hour lows, probably tomorrow afternoon. We're also gonna be at the 1-hour lows and most probably 2-hour lows, somewhere in this area, 37. And from there, I'm gonna enter one more long position. Okay, we're gonna long it. Now that's for the short term. For the longer term, we have to take a look at the liquidation map, but we did it last couple of days ago. XRP most likely, if I change to 3 months, it's gonna go lower, much lower than right now. I know that many people don't want to hear it because some of you are in spot position for XRP, but what I do, I simply say what I think and how I trade these markets. So XRP next liquidation cluster is at 98 cents. Looking at the current price, XRP can easily fall 30% from here. However, it has a weekly cycle which is pointing up, so I'm kind of still bullish for XRP for the next week. And once we hit this level, bam, we could go up and we could make a new high next week, because we still have weekly cycle, we still have 3-day cycle, and we have 1-day cycle which definitely wants to go up next week. Next week is bullish. Now for silver, actually, for silver, I wanted to short it, but I didn't enter into short position just yet. And I should have done it. I should have done it. So I missed the short opportunity on silver, which is pretty sad. Which is pretty sad, because this was a very clear sell short signal for everybody in the market. God damn it. Yeah, I'm angry with myself. I could have entered this one. We had the daily cycle going down, and then you have a top of the 4 hours. So that's a classical cycle play. If you have a daily cycle going down, but you have 4-hour top, you want to short. You want to short. It has a very high win rate, extremely high win rate, extremely high win rate. And this short is not only like 1-2%. Usually it's more than that. Here, daily cycle going down, 4-hour top, and you make a lower low. Basically, you make a lower low than this one. Bam, and you short 6% here. So very similar to the current situation. However, here it was not a lower low. That is why I didn't short it. It was a higher low, higher high, sorry. But we got rejected there. So now what we can expect from the silver, it's very normal that we get rejected into 3-day lows. We're gonna go slightly lower than that, in my opinion, for silver. For silver, we should be going slightly more lower. Yeah, so look, first target is 65.8. Until now we were going lower, and then we have 882 at 63 bucks. 3-day top, after making a 3-day top, we usually have a harsher rejection. So this could be either this level or this level for another trade. Okay. Anyways, first we're waiting for the 65.8. But I see more opportunities to short silver rather than long it. Okay, it's just we are still too high. We're still too high. Daily cycle has to go down. 3-day cycle has to go down. This guy has to go to 20. Still short. If you're on a trade, if you're on a trade, you take the short. When is the next moment to take the short? Look, very easy. Basically, look at the past. What happened when silver had daily cycle which was going down? So if you didn't take this one, for example, then you take the 2-hour high. So the next 2-hour high, bam, short. It's not too late. It's not too late. Plenty of time. Silver is slow. It's not crypto. It's very slow. So 2-hour high will be in a few days from now. Yeah, probably in a few days. Somewhere around Wednesday. Because what's going to happen right now, we're going to go to 618. Remember, 618 is it's somewhere here. So we're gonna go here. We're gonna then slightly go up. I cannot tell you how much, but this 2-hour cycle should top there, somewhere around Wednesday. And then Wednesday, there will be another short opportunity. Most probably. That's basically for silver. No need to wait for the no, because 3-day cycle is at the top, so 1 day can stay such a long time below 20. I would simply wait for the 2-hour cycle to go above 80. You don't have to wait for the daily cycle to go above 80, because it can be simply too late. Okay, You don't want to wait that long. No. 2 hour cycle at the top, that is where you want to enter into a short position. Again, I really wanted to do this together, but we missed this one. Well, it is what it is. Yes, actually, you're right. We should be concerned about 1 week cycle rising. 1 week cycle is above 80. However, saying that, hey, on the weekly cycle, we are also entering into overbought territory. So you have to be concerned for sure. But looking at this rejection, it tells me that plus we got rejected at 69, at 60, roughly at $70. And I told you that that's a very, very important level as well. Again, if you short at the 2 hour high, that's what we're going to do. Into 2 hour low, that's a decent trade. That's a medium risk trade. That's definitely not a high risk trade. That's low to medium risk trade. Okay, because we have the 3-day cycle at the top. And from the daily bottom, well, then we're going to see. Then we're going to see what we do. Whether we enter into a long position or we're simply going to have this bottom taking a little bit longer. Because look, for silver, like for many, many assets, what happens if the 3-day cycle is falling down, the 1-day bottom can extend, like here, many red candles. Okay, and the next 1-day top is very quick usually. This happens very, very often. This is a bad example. This is a bad example. Here it's a good example. You see, 3-day cycle topped, same as here. What happened? A lot of red candles just because this daily cycle took so long to fully bottom. So you don't want to catch longs in this situation. You would rather want to catch short. And seeing this rejection candle, it seems like silver wants to go lower than that. Again, pay attention to those two levels. If the daily cycle approaches this, we're probably going to jump. And if we approach this level, we're definitely going to jump because it's 882 Fibonacci level. 882 is where the jumps happen. When to short Ethereum? So Ethereum short, yeah. Ethereum short at the next daily top. I would want to wait another week to short Ethereum. If you're not shorting now, then you simply want to wait for the next daily top. So not yet. We're gonna do this together in a week from now. Yeah. Obviously, every single 4-hour top can be a short, right? You have to understand that. So if you go to the 1-hour cycle and you apply the Cycle Scanner Pro, you understand that you can take these short signals anytime and you can actually make money with them, right? You can make a few percent almost in every single trade. So that's a decent short opportunity as well. However, in order to make the short lower risk and higher reward, you simply wait for 2-hour, 4-hour cycle going above 80. So look, I'm gonna catch a long on ETH right here at 2,380, and then we're gonna close the long at some point next week, and we're gonna enter into a short. That is the goal. That's basically the goal. I cannot tell you exactly what I'm gonna enter the short. It's still not clear. I can tell you where I'm gonna look for longs. It's 2,380. So this is where I'm looking for longs. This is the 882 zone. And, 882 is where the bounces happen. And we most likely going to have a bounce there. All right. Silver. Nice tip. Yeah, correct. 2-hour high. If we short, should we be concerned about? Yeah. When do you think we short ETH? Yeah. Silver just correct. So we went through all the most important questions right now. I want to take a look at gold. Pretty similar situation there with gold. Yeah, pretty similar. Look. Weekly cycle entering 80, 3-day cycle above 80, we see a rejection. This happens all the time. It's nothing special. Just for everybody's reminder, my longer term target for gold is 3,600. This is where I expect gold to fall within the next monthly cycle. If you're not familiar with monthly cycles, you can simply go here to the indicators, you write cycle, and you add the cycle custom time frame indicator, this one. Then you go down to the settings, you click on settings, and you select 1 month. You can also use the 3-month as well. 3-month as well. Actually looks quite good. We are at the monthly bottom. So honestly, gold will pretty soon restart its bullish move. We might go here. We might touch this level. And then we're going to start a secular bull market for the next year. Look at this 3-month cycle. Look how accurate it is. I really want to move now to 1 week. I want to remove every single indicator just for you to understand how bullish Gold is currently, it's crazy bullish. It's crazy bullish. So don't pay attention to this small rejections that we're having right now. Look, we go up into the 3-month high. We currently go low, but in reality, the price doesn't really stretch that much. Now, if we were to come back to 2000 levels, then of course, then I would say gold is very bearish. But as long as we stay here, especially above this zone 3200 within next months, that is extremely bullish. That's extremely bullish. It happens every single time. Look here. We went on July 20, we topped on the 3-month cycle. It took us roughly 2 years to bottom. Or that's 6 months. Yeah, that's 3-month cycle. Roughly 2 years to bottom, and from there we started secular bull run, and that's basically what happens. Okay, so you cannot really expect now the price to simply start rallying up. Most likely it's not going to happen. We first have to go down into a proper bottom. Monthly cycle can push the price a little bit up, then down, and somewhere from the end of this year we're gonna make a decent bottom, and from there up, and we're gonna have something what we had previously. Look, so you will be able to make so much money with gold, a lot of money. Bam, 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 bam. This is what happens when 3-month cycle is pushing up. It's crazy. It's literally crazy. And very similar situation with silver. See, 3-month cycle still going down, still going down. So again, and then bots, and we continue higher. So very important that you use the cycle indicator, especially at the end of this year, because we're gonna make so many good trades. Look at this, you know, you can long any time and make huge gains. So you expect 3,600 because of the upcoming 3-month bottom. Yeah, price really dropped that low. Well, this I cannot tell you for sure. I cannot tell you if gold is gonna drop that low. That is my expectation, and that wouldn't be low. Low would be $2,000. But if you want to know when I'm going to re-enter gold or silver, I'm going to re-enter at the 1-week lows. So once again, we go to gold. That's gold. We change to the 1 week. We remove the other indicator just to be fully clear. I delete everything what I have in the chart. And the next decent entry is the low of the 1-week cycle. 1-week cycle has to go down into October, November. Most likely we're going to see some lower prices. I cannot tell you exactly how much, but this is when I want to enter, because every single 1-week low was a great opportunity to enter into gold. Right here, 1-week low, opportunity to enter into gold. Bearish markets, bullish markets, the same thing. Okay, here, bam, we're going up. So pretty straightforward. Really don't have to overthink much, don't have to play with the numbers. I'm not really attached to my price target. This is my price target for already over a year, but if we don't get that, I'm okay with that as well. What I'm waiting for, I'm waiting for the 1-week lows to re-enter gold. Remember, last time in Strategy Master Community, we entered gold, we entered silver in this area multiple times. This was the best trade of the year right here at $4,000. We briefly went to 3,900, bought. I bought gold roughly 3 times and silver as well. And that's it. And you simply wait for the weekly bottom, you buy again, and you rinse and repeat. You don't have to play with the price targets. I like to play with the price targets. Everybody likes to predict and potentially be right, but it's fine. You know, if I'm wrong with the price, if we're never going to visit this level, this is totally fine. I'm not attached to it at all. What I'm attached to this indicator reading, which never ever actually brought me some kind of negative returns. Weekly bottom, bam. Okay, every single time. Yeah, I could really spend hours now showing every single weekly bottom. And you know, we are very bearish in the weekly bottoms. We're very bearish, and we're very bullish at the weekly tops. That's really the reality of our emotions. But we have to focus on the indicator and not on anything else. And obviously, some weekly cycles can be worse. You know, if we enter here, we hold too long, bam. This is what we can expect actually from this year's gold market. All right, please do AMD. Your drawings are showing the bottom in mid-2000. Yeah, don't really pay attention to the price. Don't really pay too much attention on the exact drawing. I just want to show my point basically based on the cycle indicators. Okay, now we have AMD and Tau, right? So we have AMD. Look, so AMD has a weekly cycle at the bottom. And looking at the previous weekly cycles, we can identify that weekly cycle bottom for AMD was a great entry opportunity. So if you're looking for a longer term position, longer term, I mean the next months, well, that's a very good opportunity. Very good opportunity to enter into AMD. If we only take a look at the weekly cycle bottoms were great. However, in some cases like this one, weekly cycle bottom didn't bring you any returns. You had to wait for another weekly cycle bottom, and only from there the good returns started. So now we want to understand how to avoid these situations, how to avoid something what happened in between 2024 December and April 2025. For this, you want to add a few more cycles. Oops, that's the wrong one. Let me remove it. Okay, so for AMD, I don't really expect this weekly cycle to deliver. I'll be very honest with you. I expect further downside, and there are two reasons. Reason number one, two weekly cycle needs at least a few months to fully go below 20. Monthly cycle just stopped, and monthly cycle didn't stop on good terms. Monthly cycle went to 78 and then broke down. Now, again, we can take a look at what happens in these situations. Here, monthly cycle went up, started going down. This whole trend was roughly bearish. Yes, we had this move up during this weekly cycle, but the monthly is the one who's showing where AMD price is going next. So in a complete honesty, we're gonna see something like this for AMD, and then continuation up. We're not gonna see higher prices right now. I really don't expect. This weekly cycle can push AMD price slightly more up. However, it's gonna get rejected. We already see that this weekly cycle is weak. It tried pushing up, it didn't manage to push up. This is a weak cycle. So most likely we're gonna start this weekly cycle, and then we're gonna break once again. And then the next low will be the interesting one. So this is basically end of the year. I'm targeting end of the year for AMD for a decent big spot position. Right now, sure, entering into a long is fine, but entering into a big position, really not the time. You have a monthly cycle against you, you have a 2 weekly cycle playing against you. We're gonna see, we can even see something like this, where we go 10% up, get rejected. We're gonna go another 80% up, get rejected. So AMD is not a ticker that I would potentially trade right now. There's a gap to be filled at 400. Well, yeah, and that's very probable. That's very probable. Right here, we filled the previous gap at what, 187, right? Yeah, very possible. If we did it once, we're most likely gonna do it twice, and most probably we're gonna find other gaps as well. Even here, 2020, this gap was kind of a support level, right? Acted as a support level, and we continued up. Yeah, these gaps, that's a great one. Thanks, man. These gaps, they happen quite often. They happen also in bullish markets. Yeah, but here it's very clear that we can expect this gap to get filled at 400. That is why don't rush into position. And if you go to 400, and then if you see the weekly cycle at the bottom, that is what when it's interesting to enter. $380, $390 per stock. Okay, we have Tau. Let's take a look at Tau. Oh, damn, Tau. Beautiful. Yeah, so you cannot really expect anything else from the altcoins. I know that everybody got very bullish, but you don't have to be bullish. Wait. This is actually interesting. Yeah, we could push a little bit higher. So this trend line is not bearish. Don't take this trend line as a bearish one. Now, monthly cycle failed, but for crypto, monthly cycle is less important. It's more important the weekly and the 2 weekly cycle, because they already play with the emotions a lot. So again, weekly cycle bottom, the best opportunity to enter, July, August. From there, we catapulted up 20-30% gains, and now we are going lower. 3-day cycle at the top, 1-day cycle. Yeah, so it's pretty basic, right? We topped on the 1-day cycle, we topped on the 3-day cycle, and now we have to go lower into a deeper daily low. So this low will most likely be deeper. We could continue up. For Tau, we could continue up. We discussed that altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin very soon. Altcoins are going to do better than BTC. Right here, we can see Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is soon to be topping. We're going to top pretty soon, and we're going to get rejected to the downside. We can use the Fibonacci tool to understand where Bitcoin dominance can get rejected. So Bitcoin can still outperform alts for another week, 10 days. Going to 60.51, 60.82, but that is where I expect the rejection to happen. And this rejection means that alts are going to start outperforming BTC. Okay, so that is why Tau will be quite interesting for us at the 3-day bottom, and even maybe deeper 1-day bottom. Is Tau? Yes, it is a buy, but it will be a bit harder to aim the exact 1-day low. Okay, it will be harder, and it will be harder because this 1-day cycle will simply be longer. You see, the 1-day cycle is going to be longer, so this will be a little bit more hard to do. If I go to Tau on the 1 hour, you see, we broke the 8-hour cycle, we broke the 1-hour cycle. Most likely, we're gonna go lower, and we're gonna go lower for like a week from now. So we have to be very patient until this daily cycle fully bottoms. Potentially beginning of September. And then Tau will be again an interesting coin to enter. Yeah. So now it's actually Tau is a decent short. Even now, Tau is a decent short. We broke the 1 hour, we broke the 8-hour. We should be falling lower and make a couple of % of profit at least as a bare minimum. All right. This is all about the cryptos that we had. So our positions, we didn't enter any crypto position just yet. We have profitable stock position, and we are gauging on GEF. GEF is an interesting one. It's a very interesting one. I expect GEF to perform pretty well. And the problem is that we can draw multiple fib levels, and it's hard to know which one is correct one. This ticker doesn't have a very clear swing low. There are multiple swing lows, so it's really hard to know exactly which level to draw, which one is ours. However, we wait for the daily cycle to fully reset. That is where we enter, and that is where we're going to make a very good profits. Right now, Tau, very decent short. We can take a look at what kind of signal, what kind of coins we actually triggered. We have a bunch of signals now in the last couple of hours. I saw we had a long signal on BTC. I think it's slightly too early. We had a short signal on Adobe. Adobe is actually an interesting stock. Yeah, we are approaching the top for Adobe. Let me take a look at the weekly. How far ahead we are at the weekly. Oh yeah, so Adobe is pretty interesting. 618. Most likely right here we're gonna face a rejection for Adobe at $295. I would be interested into a short position for Adobe because we have all the cycle indicators overbought here, and right here. Even right now could be very interesting. Take a look at the 2-hour cycle, still trying to pushing up. Now we just got a sell signal just in front of my eyes, actually. Shorting signal. So Adobe, very interesting short. Very interesting short. And again, people who bought here, they have to take profits. They already made 50% from the bottom. That is a lot. Weekly cycle, all the cycles actually went up. On the monthly, we are going up, obviously, but on the short term, basically for the next month, Adobe most likely is going to underperform after this beautiful run from the bottom. So very decent short signal on the in the group. Those who are in the Strategy Master group, you can see all the signals. To those who are in the founding members, and if you want to see signals, you simply have to create an account with BitUnix, use your API keys, put your API keys into the SM Marine application. You're going to see all the buy, all the sell signals. As easy as that. All the buy, all the sell signals. And we have a lot of them. Well, you're also going to see in the application if I entered anything. So if you want to see my trades, you can simply do that. You use the application. I'm going to check one more stock and then we're going to wrap it up for today. Lilly and Company. This was what? This was buy. This was buy, that we have 2 weekly at the top. So it's okay. It's not a buy now, it's rather buy next week. 1130 on the stock could be pretty interesting. However, I see the 3-day cycle topping, going down. Not my favorite one. Definitely not my favorite one. No, really good one. HMS stock. Let's take a look. HMS Network AB. Yeah. HMS 2 weekly cycle bottom. So splashing higher. For buy, simply you want to wait for the daily bottom for sure. For sure, you want to wait for the daily bottom. Like for longs, we are too late. For shorts, we are right on time. 0.5. Oh, I would not short now. No, I would. If I short $539. We can simply push a little bit higher because of this weekly cycle. I believe that this guy is going to push a little higher. And if you're looking for an entry, you're really looking at the daily lows. So in this daily cycle. Oh, got it. It's the wrong one. Okay. Yeah, him and her. That's great. Now, this one is for shorts. This one is pretty interesting for shorts because we have 3D cycle going down. We have lower low right here compared to the weekly cycle top. We're going to go lower on the stock. Potentially something like this. We are losing the bullish momentum that we had. The weekly cycle is pushing everything lower. So I expect this guy to go slightly lower, driven by the 3D cycle. But I really like the cycles of the stock. This stock has really good cycles. Okay. Wow. 3D bottom, 3D bottom, 3D bottom. Oh, you could buy any 3D bottom and you make money. Wow. Okay. This will soon become my favorite. I like this a lot. 3D bottom, you see. So what you want to do, you want to wait for 3D bottom. That's a very clear indication. Just take a look at the previous lows. Well, this was very hard to buy because 3D cycle reversed, so you cannot really get it. Here it was hard to catch because we had weekly. This was the ultimate macro low. So macro lows definitely hard to catch. But anything beyond that, if you bought 3D bottoms, you were in profits, even in the bearish conditions. If you bought it in bullish conditions, you made a lot of money. Well, so what we do right now with the stock, we set an alert, and once 3D reaches the bottom, that is when you want to enter. Right now, you're mostly looking for shorts rather than longs. So we go here, alerts, we click plus, we select 3D cycle, crossing 20. Value 20, same as chart, 1 day, once only, we click create. This is what we can do on TradingView. All right, if you have any specific stock that you would like me to take a look at, let me know. But we already discussed Bitcoin. We already discussed other cryptocurrencies, including stocks. We saw that Adobe stock is the one that could be very pretty interesting short. Pretty interesting short right now. Okay, and the rest is bogus. The rest is done. Let's see, HMS is Tau. Yeah, we discussed absolutely every single stock. Adobe, I'm very keen in shorting Adobe. The only problem is that we would still go against the trend. I would like to have some trend confirmation, but for the previous shorts were just before the daily cycle hits 20. Actually, it was before the daily cycle hits 20. This was a decent short. Even here, we short, we make decent profits. Palantir. Oh, Palantir. Yeah, we discussed Palantir before, but we can actually do it again. Adobe is a very interesting short. We could enter into Adobe's short either now or we do that on Monday. when we definitely see the top of all these cycles. Yeah. Because we could see one more push up into Monday. And that's it. So Adobe, very, very interesting short. Again, as I mentioned, 295 is a Fibonacci golden pocket, meaning that we are at the rejection point right now. We really are at the rejection point. I'm pretty keen to short it. Okay, Adobe, let me just make my notes. Adobe potential weekly short. All right. And we expect to go lower from there. Now, Palantir. When I take a look at Palantir Technologies, we had a short position right there. We went into another upside into the 80 territory for the daily cycle. So the daily cycle is still bullish because we are going to the 882 level, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we are going to 882 level. Either here we can do, well, next week, beginning of next week is then when you want to enter into a short position. Monday or Tuesday, you want to enter into a short position for Palantir. We are actually $180. That's the 882. That's the rejection point. Either we're going to get rejected here or there. Most probably here. I see this daily cycle wants to go to 80 Monday or Tuesday. So this is basically your shorting territory. You want to increase your short. We opened the first short here. We were in a profit. I closed this. I got a break-even price. I took some profits, but the next short is in this box right here. $188 for Palantir is a decent short. BE, all right, BE, Bloom Energy Corporation. Very similar to many other assets that we've seen, to be honest, more bearish than bullish. The biggest concern is this daily cycle went above 80, but the price is already getting rejected. Compared to the previous daily cycle, we made a lower high. So here I expect this to go slightly lower, 3D cycle lower, 1-day cycle lower, something like this. Something like this. So right now it's more of a short than a long. I would not be in a position for Bloom Energy. I would be rather in a short position rather than long position. Okay. All right. So one more time, guys, and BTC is going lower as expected. Remember the levels that we have for Ethereum entry. Ethereum 2,380. This is our entry where we're going to enter into a long position on Bitunix. So we're waiting for until tomorrow. Tomorrow, if I'm entering positions, I'm going to let you know in the Strategy Master chat. And let's wrap it up, guys. Thank you very much for attending. Don't forget, use the Bitunix link. It not only allows you to trade with a really good liquidity, but allows you to use SM Arena and see my trades, see trades of other cycle traders, okay? And join our community on strategymaster.io. Right here, you go and you get the cycles. Just now, I pushed an article about can Bitcoin actually go to 100K? Read this article. This really changes your mind on how you see next entries. This is all about targeting entries at the bull market start. Right now, we are actually at the beginning of a new bull market or at the end of the bear market. And right here, this chart, this is basically a golden chart showing you 3 opportunities that we had and 2 more opportunities that we're going to have in the next 2 months. Right now, it's not an opportunity to enter. Right now, it's an opportunity for shorting rather than longing in the mid to long term. But mid of September and mid of October, these will be the 2 opportunities to enter into big positions. Right. Hey, Crypto Girls Club. Hello. You are coming at the very end. Thank you very much for joining, guys. It was a great Friday session. Potentially, we're going to do one either Sunday night or on Monday. Now, I'm usually doing streams in the evening hours here in Europe, but in about 10 days from now, I'm going to start scheduling so everybody will know the exact time and can join at the exact time. I will try to adhere to a more direct schedule. And guys, great to see you. Great to meet everyone. Have a great weekend, amazing weekend. Don't forget to set your stop losses if you have any, and also take a look at the 4-hour and 1-hour cycles for cryptocurrencies. Many cryptocurrencies gonna see this jump in the next 2 days. You don't want to miss it as well. So yeah, have a great one.